Welcome to the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 48. The first setup was submitted by Nathan.
The definition of the setup would be clutter and kind of like overwhelming. Get the Dr. Pepper off. You don't need Dr. Pepper there. And really,
but I mean, you really do.
Well, I mean, if it's empty, that's kind of nasty. And then I don't understand why the desk is like so nice and white on like the left side, but then the rest of it's just like plain wood. Like,
he ran out of paint, bro. I think his cable management was putting his chair in front of the cables.
Yeah, and he's like, "This will work. They won't
see the cables. No,
my real nice chair will." Doesn't that just disgust you? I mean, look at all the stuff on the floor.
It does.
Nathan walked away with a 29. The next setup was submitted by Sam.
The cable management right there. I mean,
dude,
my eyes.
He has the option to put those cables behind the desk where the drawers are. You could do that and to minimize that whole entire area, and then get a laptop stand that matches the color. That setup would be golden, man.
Yeah, and
golden.
It's overall, I mean, the floor is clean. The cable management underneath is clean. The only reason why it's clean is because it's on top of your desk. Oh, yeah. Everyone in the chat right now is saying that looks like a comfy ass chair.
Dude, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Fat boy certified.
Yeah.
All my fat peeps, you know what I'm talking about. Right?
You got to get like a sticker.
When your ass starts falling asleep.
Sam walked away with a 50. The next setup was submitted by Aidan.
For my understanding, that's a backdrop in the back. If you just like.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, get
it's
it
like
up,
a 3D
off
effect.
The ground above that backdrop. You ain't seeing crap, dude.
Yeah. Here we are talking about nice and long, and Steve's like, I don't want to talk about my failed wood project. You need life above because get a Star Trek poster, dude. Like, boom.
There you go.
Boom.
Yeah, you like Star Trek?
Aidan scored a 31. The next setup was submitted by Oliver.
Again, clutter kills it. This could be, even with a single monitor, and the way you have it set up, it could be perfect. One thing I don't understand is this is why I killed his usability score. Like, you're pushing yourself onto that left side of that desk. You should be in the middle. You have this nice spot where you sit right in the middle of it, but you decide to give yourself even less room, and because of that, your legs are probably crisscross applesauce and you're all confused and stuff.
Oliver scored a 41. The next setup was submitted by Austin.
I feel like this is if my grandma, like if I had to move in with my grandma and she's like, you can have this room, but you're leaving my furniture because
dude, there's a fox up at
oh yeah, look at that. Look at the fox.
What does the fox say?
Yeah.
Is that a monkey next to
maybe?
Dude, I'm trolling.
Austin walked away with a 25. The next setup was submitted by Alex.
I mean, it looks like his mom just kind of gave him a hand-me-down desk from the other room. Right.
And actually, my dad said this in one episode, and people really thought it was a good piece of advice. It's okay to see wires as long as they're managed.
Alex scored a 71. The next setup was submitted by Philip.
Hey, I'm just going to say that guitar is like at the worst spot.
I see what you mean about the guitar. That's not too big of a deal to me.
Sure, yeah.
The cable, like the white cable going down the leg, that's kind of bothering me. And all those cables over there,
like a very interesting.
Why is a subwoofer up there? Or yeah.
A what? A hubba hubba?
A subwoofer. I can't fucking talk.
Subwoofer?
Philip walked away with a 77. The next setup was submitted by Kelton.
Oh, the amount of hate he's going to get for that picture alone is crazy. This is something, not whoever you are, whether you hate on Apple or whatever, this is not related to Apple, so I think it's cool and I think you'll appreciate it, is the way he mounted all these things under his desk.
Yeah.
So he's got USB extenders, I would make the assumption, so you could plug in like a flash drive right there. Look at that, guys. A vacuumed floor.
Dude, and it looks good.
Yeah. You know,
dude,
like,
at 16 years old, I was, you know, let's not get into what I was doing at 16. Never mind. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, anyways.
Kelton scored a 74. The next setup was submitted by Luke.
This is going to get a lot of hate because they'll be like, Mommy and Daddy bought all your stuff for you and blah, blah, blah. And I know it's going to get a lot of hate.
That PC case is almost as tall as the desk,
but it just looks
raised up a little bit, so she's not so short.
Yeah, so you don't have to. That is true, because you see that bar, and you wouldn't see that bar if he was a little bit taller. Yeah, like the monitor stand, I don't know if you could push it back even more, but that takes up almost all of your desk, which is really kind of sad, because the wire management is like kind of like, even though it's only a few, it's probably like an Ethernet cable that you're running all the way across the floor.
Luke walked away with a 46. The next setup was submitted by Herman.
Regardless,
But then again, I like his accent lighting, how it's not on the desk, it's behind the monitors. That's cool.
yes. When I had my triple monitor stands, I did the same thing. Definitely, if you could get them off the stand and kind of push it in the back a little, that'd be really nice because you could fix the speakers so they're kind of like a little, because they're a little bit behind. I mean, not terrible though. My last thing that I'll say is like on the right side, bottom leg, I would kind of clean that up a little bit because if you are going to run it around the leg, you could at least keep it so that it's not like falling awful. You gotta just keep it nice and tight around.
Herman walked away with a 56. The next setup was submitted by Icy.
I'm gonna be that guy. The cables, you could fix it so easily. It could look terrible like that. It could look really unorganized, but just like tape it behind the piece of wood.
Yeah, the little rug in the middle of the floor in the chair. It makes me laugh. I'm sorry.
That's a big ass rug.
I could probably lay on that rug and then wrap it around me. You feel me?
Yeah. I mean, we see this one cable that's just kind of like going around. I would kind of clean that up.
And it's white. You can keep it up against that wall. Good.
Yeah, seriously. Again, it's another guy that's pushing himself all the way to the left side. What is up with that?
Dude, if that computer was all the way on the right in that corner, so me personally, that's what mine is. I feel a little more secure with it. It's not gonna fall off my desk.
Yeah, because his is like on the edge.
Icy scored a 54. The final setup was submitted by Botola.
I just love...
Dude, I love how he has a light mounted on the wall with no light bulb in it.
The cables.
Dude, you can wrap those cables around the stands.
Yeah, it's an easy fix. It literally just looks like webs of like spider webs just coming out into, like, why is the computer tilted that way? He must be a tall dude because those monitors are real high up.
Botola walked away with a 37. First place went to Philip with a 77, with Kelton following behind with a 74. Thanks for watching the Pimp My Setup highlights for episode number 48.